Good morning, Car Clinic affiliates. Your Car Clinic minutes for the week of August 6th, 2018 are about to head your way. So go ahead and press the record button. As always, thank you for broadcasting and listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Have a great weekend.
Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. Chattanooga has its choo-choo and the Orient its express. But did you know that your car has a train of its very own? When I come back, I'll tell you all about it.
O'Reilly. When your battery goes dead, everything can come to a stop. Don't take a chance on getting stranded. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get your battery tested free of charge. If your battery does need to be replaced, O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you find the exact Superstart battery that fits your car or truck at a guaranteed low price. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Speeding locomotives have nothing on you. Even energy on Soul Train can't match that of your drivetrain. Okay, enough hinting. Drivetrain refers to all the pieces that together deliver power from engine to wheels. We're talking clutch, torque converter, CV joints, differentials, universal joints, and transmissions. Just like the hip bones connected to the leg bone, all these parts work in concert. And although you don't have to shovel coal to fire them up, like all trains, you do have to schedule maintenance. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. Ancient peddlers invented it. Avon ladies made it big. And the high-tech Japanese still do it. If you think door-to-door is passé, when I come back, I'll tell you the latest. O'Reilly.
When your battery goes dead, everything can come to a stop. Don't take a chance on getting stranded. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get your battery tested free of charge. If your battery does need to be replaced, O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you find the exact Superstart battery that fits your car or truck at a guaranteed low price. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Japan has a reputation for tradition. Even buying cars is done the old-fashioned way, by door-to-door salesmen. But motivated by the recession and consumer demand, dealers are reconstructing their strategy. Nissan plans to open the door to Japan's first large-scale auto mall. And Honda's added a window to the World Wide Web with the introduction of internet-based kiosk. Another tradition breaker? Japan is buying record numbers of American-made parts, opening another door of opportunity. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. In westerns, they wore white hats. In cartoons, they wore bright capes. Heroes may not be as easy to identify in the real world, but when I come back, I'll tell you one place to look.
O'Reilly. When your battery goes dead, everything can come to a stop. Don't take a chance on getting stranded. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get your battery tested free of charge. If your battery does need to be replaced, O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you find the exact Superstart battery that fits your car or truck at a guaranteed low price. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
If I say hero and you picture John Wayne riding to the rescue on a white horse, switch channels. Some real-life heroes drive to the rescue in their 18-wheelers. These 5 professional truck drivers are finalists in Goodyear's North America Highway Hero Contest. Chris Sackos, Massachusetts. Wayne Carpenter, New Hampshire. Jamie Pritchard, North Carolina. And Michael Asselin and Mark Savari, Canada. These ordinary men exhibited extraordinary bravery during highway crisis, saving lives and property. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. Wow, what a brain! No, I'm not talking about the class valedictorian or the scarecrow after he reached Oz. This brain's inside your car. When I come back, I'll tell you all about it.
O'Reilly. When your battery goes dead, everything can come to a stop. Don't take a chance on getting stranded. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get your battery tested free of charge. If your battery does need to be replaced, O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you find the exact Superstart battery that fits your car or truck at a guaranteed low price. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Einstein's got nothing on your car's ECM or electronic control module. Like human brains, ECMs gather data from the environment and make adjustments to optimize performance. For example, this onboard computer adapts fuel delivery, seat positions, cabin temperature, braking, and emissions. It also alerts you to potential problems and notifies you for service. Like all brains, your ECM's sensitive to environmental abuse. So follow the Scarecrow's lead. Take your ECM for scheduled service to the Oz, service center of your choice. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. It's a moonless night. The wind's howling. Shadows dance in your garage. But the real mystery is why your car won't start. Not even a click. When I come back, I'll help you solve it.
O'Reilly.
When your battery goes dead, everything can come to a stop. Don't take a chance on getting stranded. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get your battery tested free of charge. If your battery does need to be replaced, O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you find the exact Superstart battery that fits your car or truck at a guaranteed low price. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Here's the scene of the crime. You turn the ignition key. Nothing. But lights and horn work fine. You check your shift lever. Good, it's in park. But now what? The butler's not the reason for your dead vehicle. It's your neutral safety switch. This device disconnects the starter whenever your car is in gear, so your car doesn't leap forward or backward before you're ready. To solve, jiggle your shift lever back and forth to disengage. Then drive to your mechanic for adjustment. Good job, Sherlock. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 3-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 1-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4,
3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic, live via ABC Radio Satellite Services. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll-free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And thank you, Marty White. Good morning, folks. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Here we go again. Wow, it's the first week in August, and I hope that your car is doing well, and I hope that it's ready for any of your summer vacations that you may have planned. In the meantime, if you have a car question, now is the perfect time for you to get in early, I would say, rather than wait till late. Hannah will take your calls at 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546. She will put you in the queue, and of course I will put you on the air. So what's a good question? Well, let me share with you a little information from our friends at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part this morning by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Preparing your car for a road trip now can help you avoid costly repairs down the road. Worn brakes, cracked belts and hoses, low fluid levels, or a dead battery are all problems that can leave you stranded in the summer heat. Before your travels begin, visit O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simple preventative maintenance like changing oil and filter and topping off fluids can ensure your family a safe journey during the months ahead. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. Your calls when I come back at 888-227-2546. Again, it's hot, the summer's here, you're getting ready for the family vacation. Now it is the time for you to be proactive. Your calls when I come back. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you're gonna love us. This car repair spotlight is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. At our car clinic service shop, we help our customers drive safer cars and trucks using the latest technology, like our DVI or Digital Vehicle Inspection Procedures. Our ASE certified technicians perform DVIs using iPads to capture pictures of items that could cause breakdowns. Things like oil leaks, cracked radiators, worn out ball joints, and more. We then share this report with our customers and create written estimates so they can make educated repair decisions, much like you and I do here on Car Clinic. And when we need repair parts, we directly log in to O'Reilly Auto Parts and visually compare each vehicle's existing part to the replacement part needed, always striving to get the right part the first time. Trained technicians using the latest technologies, installing parts that fit. O'Reilly Auto Parts for sure. Whatever you drive, find a shop you like, have them inspect your vehicle twice a year, and ask for O'Reilly Auto Parts. This car repair spotlight is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. Car repairs can get expensive, and most folks don't have spare money laying around for them. That's where brands like K-Seal can really be a lifesaver. A vehicle recently came into our car clinic service shop and was using a lot of coolant. A test showed an internal coolant leak, head gaskets likely. This was an older vehicle, so there was definitely some question as to whether it was worth the fix, as repairs could easily cost a few $1,000s. The car was still nice and safe, and the customer was not particularly ready to buy another vehicle. From our past experience and our car clinic listener stories, we poured a bottle of K-Seal into the cooling system, topped off the level, and took it for a test drive and let it cool. The owner continued to drive the car for a week or so, checking the coolant level daily, and pretty soon, the level stabilized. K-Seal did the trick. That was several months ago, and it's still holding. In this case, K-Seal turned a coolant leak casualty into a cash saver. You can pick up K-Seal at automotive retailers everywhere and learn more about K-Seal at kseal.com. That's kseal.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Rosie Outfitters, I'm Tina. How can I help you?
I'd like to place an order.
Great. Which item?
The cotton roll neck sweater, large.
Okay. Periwinkle, Loden, or caramel?
The caramel, please.
The what?
I'd like it in caramel.
Oh, the caramel?
Yeah, that's what I said, Tina.
Actually, you said caramel when it's pronounced caramel.
Can't we just call it yellow?
No.
Everyone knows the best part of a Milky Way. They just don't know how to say it. After all, it's our caramel.
It's caramel.
Ugh, that makes a Milky Way great.
You start my morning, you stir in my soul, you warm my heart, make me feel whole. Your aroma calls me, it starts my morning. Happy morning, your name is Folgers Mountain Grown. Now you're here, your aroma helps me wake, and the day is mine to take. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get started with this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Like us, you'll love us. 888-227-2546. We'll go to Missouri and take a call from Tom, who was first in. And then we're going to go to Jamie, and then your calls at 888-227-2546. Tom, good morning. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Thank you, Bobby. I was wondering about tire pressure. If you can open the door and the label on the car says 35 psi, but then you put the correct tire on there that the owner's manual specifies, and maybe the tire says 44 psi or 51 psi. Do you go by the tire or the label on the car?
You know, that's a great question, Tom, and I've answered that question hundreds of times. Just so you'll know, the DOT, Department of Transportation code, like say a building code, for example. In our area in 2004, we had Ivan, which is a hurricane. So there were a lot of terrible destruction and what have you. Any new buildings that had that were rebuilt, including homes at the beach or metal building, the withstanding of air speed, like 120 mile per hour wall. So that's a code, a building code. On the sidewall of all tires is the building code, which means that on the worst day possible, how much wind can this wall take before it, without blowing away? The same thing is true for a tire. When you load a tire, the interior of the tire, just think of your if you're a guy, think of your belly. So the more load you have, the more the center of the tire pushes in, and then you push air in it that pushes your belly back out, or the belly of the tire, the center of the tire. So the code on the side of the tire and the pressure you read says, for this particular tire and that particular tire only, you can add X amount of pressure, i.e. 55 psi, to offset another 600 or 800 or 1,200 pounds of load that the vehicle may incur, whether it's a pickup truck or it's a four-door passenger car with luggage and passengers and what have you. So never should you, and I say never, I don't like to use that word, but I just never seen well, I take that back. On trailers, perhaps, if a tire were to say 65 psi, and you kept loading the trailer with concrete blocks, then you would put 65 psi. And if you had more concrete blocks, and if the center of the tire was still collapsed because it wasn't enough air, you could not run more than 65 because you would exceed the limit of the structure and the integrity of the cords and the manufacturing and design of that tire. Having said all that, who cares? What you need to know is that the car is designed to run not 60 or 50 or 55, but on your side decal, which is normally on the door or the door jamb of the car, say 32 psi. So at 32 psi, under normal conditions, and a lot of cars, if you look at that at the tire pressure on the decal, it says with normal conditions or with multiple loads or with higher speeds, and it still would be within it being the pressure you should run within a couple of psi. So my rule of thumb is that my car calls for 32 psi. I do mostly in-town driving,
90%, and so I run about 33 psi. I depend on my tire pressure monitoring system, but that's the proper starting point. Any questions so far?
The 32 is on the door of your car?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, it may not be 32. It could be 34. It could be 36. But on the decal on the car, some GM cars have that decal tucked away under the console door or in the glove compartment door. But most all cars show on the drivers, when you open the driver's door, on either the door jamb itself or the door frame itself, you'll see this decal, and that's usually where those numbers are. And so that's what you should know. And if you understand that, and folks, you need to understand this, that's the beginning point. I say starting point, and here's why. The true pressure that you should run on the car that you drive, which is not your neighbor's car, whether it's the same make or what model or what have you, on the car you drive, can only be determined by monitoring the tread wear. And just like I said, more air, the center of the tire blows out. Pull air in or take the load off, the edges of the tire bow out. So what you have to do is establish a 30, say 32 is the mean point, all right? So you put 32, and you drive it 4,000 or 5,000 miles, and you measure the tread depth, and you measure the tread depth on the interior tread, the outside tread, and then the center tread. Three ways. And if you're getting wear in the center, then you're running too much air pressure. If you're getting no wear in the center or more wear on the inside and outside tread than in the center, then you'll know that that you're not running enough air. You need to push that center out. I like to err to a higher pressure. So if it calls for 32, I like to run 33 or 34 because tires do not make air, they leak air. So that means that if you put when you check it, if you check it once a month, cars should be so lucky that their owners check their tires once a month. But if you check it once a month and you make sure that you're higher, then the tire will leak, but it will stay within the maximum pressure more than it will stay in the under maximum pressure. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes. So if it says max pressure 35, you're going to put in 36?
Probably so. Yeah, probably so. I will do that until I learn how the wearer of that car and that tire performs. And I can only do that 5,000 miles from now because we've measured the inside. So let's say you have 7 30-seconds tread. So you got 7 30-seconds on the inside tread, 7 on the center, and 7 on the outside. And we put 36 psi. Then we check it 5,000 miles, and we've got 6 30-seconds on the outside, 6 30-seconds on the inside, but in the center tread, we have 5 30-seconds. Oh, wait a minute. We've worn the center more, too much air. But I'll tell you, you rarely will see the center wear because tires leak air, so you can always edge your err to the high pressure side. You got it?
Yes. I've noticed that, thank you, I've noticed that on a lot of the newer cars, the rim is huge, 17, 18, 20-inch diameter rim, and then the tire is less. It's smaller.
Yeah,
it reminds you more like a bicycle tire.
Yeah, I know, and it's what really gets me about that is that makes it so easy to damage the wheel and curb a tire. Ugh. I hate to think about it, but I've done it. I've done it more times than I want to even think about. And every time I do, I've got this great. When I hear that, and I, it's one of those things where you're in a tight position and you think you got it covered, and I got it. Yeah, well, you find out you don't have it and you scratch it. And in my case, it takes $400 to fix a wheel, and I know I fixed the right front of my car 2 times. I mean, really? But
yeah.
But that's a low-profile tire, and that's the aspect ratio, which is the millimeters of the tire sidewall as compared to the width of the tire. So that's where all those numbers, and we did I don't have it in front of me, but it's really interesting to read all those numbers like P205, 80, HRV, V. I can't even call the numbers. All that means that the tire is made for passenger car, and the aspect ratio is the wall size and the tread width, and then the V rated is for high speed, which means the tire can. And then you got the run flat tires, and that is my least favorite of all tires, run flat. I like the solidarity. I like the rigidness of a well-made tire, but a tire that is made to run flat is like a carcass with bones in it. I mean, you can run the air out of it, you can still drive at 50 miles an hour. I mean, it's just too much. So, if you don't have any air in the tire, you almost have it like the old-fashioned tires before we had pneumatic tires. Hey, got to go, Tom. Thank you for your call. Where do you live?
I'm in southeast Missouri, below St. Louis.
Hey, nice talking with you, and thanks for your call. That issue or that question is a one that everyone should pay attention to, because that's an easy way to get better gas mileage, is to run a little higher pressure, and it's also make sure that your car can withstand the potholes more or less, because you have the adequate tire for that to hold the car up and to that tire patch on the road. Thanks for your call, Tom. We'll come back and take Jamie's call in Kansas. And folks, it's your turn. 888-227-2546. I have the number right there. We recently sat down with Johnson Controls Global Brand Manager Joe Meyer to discuss the advantages of AGM batteries. Joe touched on why many of today's vehicles are better suited for this technology. Let's hear from Joe.
Certain attributes that make your vehicle a good candidate for an AGM battery really depend on the electrical demands that are placed on the battery within your vehicle, as well as potentially the vehicle application, such as start-stop. Most vehicles manufactured in recent years actually contain more than 150 electrical accessories, including backup cameras, navigation systems, even power windows, which are part of our everyday lives. Our AGM batteries are manufactured to meet these electrical demands. Additionally, if you have something in your car such as start-stop technology, you need an AGM battery to help ensure you are effectively powering your vehicle during the stop event.
Johnson Controls is the world's largest producer of automotive AGM batteries, which are precision engineered to meet the electrical demands we put on today's vehicles. Learn more at autobatteries.com. Berryman Products is celebrating their 100th anniversary, providing innovation to the automotive aftermarket, like their new Berryman engine oil flush, which quickly and safely removes harmful deposits in the crankcase for gasoline and diesel engines without the use of aggressive solvents. Berryman engine oil flush frees sticky valves and lifters for quieter operation, opens restricted oil passages to improve overall oil circulation, removes water for enhanced corrosion resistance, frees sticky piston rings for reduced oil consumption and blow-by. Learn more at berrymanproducts.com.
What 100-year-old automotive company makes dozens of products to extend your vehicle's life and improve its performance?
Let me see.
Which company uses high-energy solvent technology, or HEST?
It's on the tip of my tongue.
What company introduced B12 Chem Tool over 40 years ago? Still the best fuel system cleaner on the market?
Oh, don't tell me it's
Berryman Automotive Products. Correct. Berryman Automotive Products has lubricants, cleaners, solvents, hundreds of solutions, and every product all American-made since 1918. You'll find Berryman Automotive Products at AutoZone, Pep Boys, and Walmart. Now, why would you buy anything else?
Yeah, you sure ask a lot of questions.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
The airlines like to have sales. Summer getaway sales, holiday sales, winter sales. Truth is, at any moment, some airline somewhere is on sale with low fares to great destinations. Travelocity knows exactly what's going on, who's on sale, to where, and when, at over 700 airlines worldwide. We even have this nifty feature that lets you look at a calendar so that you can see exactly the days the great fares are available. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere. AOL keyword, travel.
Hun, guess my temperature.
It's 2 a.m. Go to sleep.
Come on, one guess.
I'm 98.
Higher.
Higher, 99.
You're getting warmer. Wait, I'm getting warmer.
Cold symptoms keeping you from getting a good night's sleep? Get NyQuil, the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever so you can sleep better to feel better medicine. Use as directed.
One more guess.
100?
Yes. Tell her what she's won, Bob.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. I need your help on this segment, or at least I'd love to hear your input. It's about Ford Motor Company's decision to drop most of its passenger car lineup. Fabio, had you heard about this week?
No, I have not. Jonathan said he has.
Yeah, it's the Ford Focus Active. It's really strange. So, folks, here's what I'll do. Let me give you the number, and Hannah, you take the calls. 888 Car Clinic, or to make it easier, 888-227-2546. That's 227-2546. So, I'll share with you the press release, and then for me, I have some ideas as to why this is happening. But here's what Ford announced, and as I mentioned earlier at the open of the show, they have drastic plans to drop most of their passenger car lineup in North America in order to focus on utility-type vehicles, like SUVs and what have you, pickup trucks and commercial vans. Now, here's one part of that story. The profit in an SUV is far greater than the profit in a small four-door spec car. What is a spec car? Oh, that would be like a rental car, a car that doesn't have a lot of accessories, a car that has probably AM, FM radio and power steering and air conditioning, of course, but not necessarily, and maybe power windows, but no power seat, no nav system, none of those add-ons that really take a baseline of a car. Hey, come and buy this new car for $19,995, but by the time you leave the dealership, it's $2,740. Or in the case of the CLA Mercedes that was advertised 5 years ago, when they came out with that car for $29,900, I can buy a Mercedes for $30,000. But when you order the nice interior and the roof, it was $41,800 out the door. I know because my daughter's partner leased one, and it was $42,000 with just the minimum. Now, I said all that to say this. So Ford says we're going to stop making those, and under the plan, the only cars that they would make that sell would be the Mustang. Well, yeah, that's a really popular car, and a new Ford Focus Active. It's a soft rotor version of the redesigned 2020 Focus. The transition is expected to be completed around 2020. So, according to Jim Hackett, the CEO, we're going to feed the healthy part of our business and deal decisively with areas that destroy value. Now, it's unusual to hear from a CEO that there's a part or a car that they're making that's destroying the value. Again, I want your input on this. So now's a good time to get in. 888-227-2546. And Ford's CFO, the financial officer, says Bob Shanks identified passenger cars most Lincoln products. Well, that's a bold statement, and some of Ford's overseas operations as areas that currently destroy value. It should be noted that there haven't been any cuts announced for Lincoln yet. And to go a step further, the utility-type vehicles accounted for 68% of sales in the United States during the first quarter, and analysts expect this figure to grow further in coming years. And for Ford, they represented the SUV. They've represented 92% of its sales in the U.S. So I know you want to fish where the fish are biting. I get that, but if you wait a month and you go back to the same fishing hole, the fish aren't going to be there necessarily. I mean, true, if there's maybe some kind of a deep water attraction, a sunken ship, as they say, yeah, maybe so. But I think that, and of course my analogy there is that while the fish may be biting today, people are buying SUVs and trucks. There's no question about that. But at the open of the show, I talked about gas prices up in every region. When the gas prices, and if they continue to rise, those sales will fall off. So it's like the weather here in Florida for you folks in New York, by the way, and tuned in Washington State. If you don't like the weather, just wait 20 minutes and it will change. Let's go to Kansas and see how the weather is there. And Robert, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic from Kansas. Let's put Robert on the air. There you go. Go ahead, Robert. You're on the air. Welcome again to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Bobby, I'm so glad to talk to you.
Sure.
You are the guru of everything. I got a half-ton Chevy pickup. It's a 1998. It's intermittent. I'm having problems with the wiper blades. They only work when the sun is shining. It doesn't do me good when that has happened, but they always work when the sun is shining. When it rains, it doesn't work. I have cruise control. Everything's on, the blinkers on the left side and everything. What's the problem?
The motor. What's a common issue? A wiper motor on a GM. And here's the good news. That's an aftermarket part. You can go to O'Reilly Auto Parts and pick up a wiper motor assembly for your 98 Chevy pickup versus going to a Chevy dealer. Save a lot of money, get a warranty on it. So that's really a no-brainer. Now, how do I know that? And can I categorically say that's going to fix your problem? Why, absolutely not, because we're talking voice to voice here on a phone. But just the odds of your 98 Chevrolet and the fact that when you need them, sure they work when the sun's hot. That may be because the motor's hot as well, or the sun's out, but it's dry. But it wouldn't surprise me, and I'd go out on a limb here, and I wouldn't feel at all uncomfortable, as I say. I'm not here to fix cars, trust me, but I've done my share of repairs. I would just replace the wiper motor, and you can buy one, as I said, from O'Reilly Auto Parts. What else do you need to know?
Well, I didn't think it was a motor because the motor works just fine, but evidently I thought it was an electrical problem.
Well, if the motor's bad, it is an electrical problem.
I guess so.
Well,
right.
You could unplug the motor in the rain. I mean,
I guess I can throw a bucket of water on it.
Well, I thought about that. I thought about you take the water hose but you know what, Robert? I bet you could try this today. Why not? Before you go and buy a new part, put it in the driveway, take the hose, saturate the whole cowl area. You know what the cowl area is. That's where the wipers, saturate that like it's really raining. I'll bet you the wipers will work. It's really nothing to do with it. It's the erratic operation. So you can saturate the window, try the wipers, and then you say, well, gosh, it still worked. Bobby was right. And then you're going to get a mile away from the house, no more water on the windshield, and you're going to say, I'm going to try them one more time, and they're not going to work, and it's not raining. That's just the way motors do. The erratic nature of a defective motor. I repaired over the course of months, a rear electric shade on a 98 Mercedes 420. And that was a long ordeal. I had to find a motor that I bought out of the country, and lucky to find one through eBay, because they don't make this motor any longer, and the car's old anyway, and so it belongs to a friend, and I said, well, let's fix that rear shade, only because it was dangerous. It was halfway up. Okay, if it was all the way up or all the way down, but no, it was halfway up. So if you go to back up or look out the rear view mirror, all you could see was half of that shade in the rear of the glass. So we took the whole car apart on the back, literally, and took that motor apart, and I tried to fix it and put it together, and it would work on the bench, and you put it together, and it would not work. So anyway, it needed a new motor, and I found a used one, which is the best I could do, and it works. Hey, my friend, thanks for your call. When you get to the other side of this, call me back and say, hey, man, you cost me a new motor, didn't fix the car, or you are the guru that I said you were. Okay.
I'm going to go get a new motor.
Good.
Bobby.
All right, you're welcome, Robert. See ya. 888-227-2546. Take a call from Joseph. Joseph, welcome to Bobby. My gosh, here it says, folks, now Joseph, you're on the air, but so Hannah's got Joseph, Lincoln Town Car, electrical issue. if this is one of those shows where I have an electrical issue, I want you to know right up front, electrical issues cannot be repaired over the air. So tell me what it's doing, and let's see if I'm right or wrong. Joseph. Hello, Joseph. Hola. Well, let's. I guess we'll go to Jim in Nevada, and Joseph probably stepped away from his phone or for some reason. But Jim in Nevada, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Yeah, hi, Bobby. How you doing? It's
Captain Jim.
Here.
Captain Jim. Hey, folks, this is, he's retired now. Well, I wouldn't say he's fully retired because he's in charge of the International World Championship Chili Cook-Off, which is a big event every year. And he and Captain Jim, you're so gracious to invite me to be a judge. And so, you folks, I'm trying to work my way out of this becoming a judge. I said, well, hey, I can eat chili, but I wouldn't know how to judge it. And so this man comes back, folks, and he says to me, don't worry about that, Bobby. We have classes to show you how to judge chili before the judging. Is that still going on, Captain Jim?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we're going to be a little closer to you this September with the World's Championship. It's going to be in St. Louis at a race car track, which is going to be very interesting. And we have the whole track for the event, so I'm really looking forward to it.
You know, you're hitting my hot button now, and let me tell you why. My daughter lives in O'Fallon, which is about 45 minutes outside of St. Louis, and then the race car track there, that's another fun event. And then there's on Velocity TV, there's one of those reality car shows, and Fabio, do you remember his name? The gentleman that it's not the BDM, not the one we just had on, but another gentleman that has a car show. Jonathan looked that up. That has a car show there that's on Velocity TV, and we had him on the air here, and his headquarters are there in St. Louis. And you know, as he and I were discussing one day, he said, "Well, you know, is your daughter crazy about cars?" I said, "Oh yeah, she loves cars. I mean, she's a Likis, you know." And the bottom line, that would be a good double whammy for me. We have a hard break, Captain Jim, and I see we have other callers come in. If I may, let me ask you to stay there. And folks, you stay right there. I promise. Get this break over with. I'll come back and we'll pick up where we left off. We recently sat down with Johnson Controls Global Brand Manager Joe Meyer to discuss the advantages of AGM batteries. Joe touched on why many of today's vehicles are better suited for this technology. Let's hear from Joe.
Attributes that make your vehicle a good candidate for an AGM battery really depend on the electrical demands that are placed on the battery within your vehicle, as well as potentially the vehicle application, such as start-stop. Most vehicles manufactured in recent years actually contain more than 150 electrical accessories, including backup cameras, navigation systems, heated seats, even power windows, which are part of our everyday lives. Our AGM batteries are manufactured to meet these electrical demands. Additionally, if you have something in your car such as start-stop technology, you need an AGM battery to help ensure you are effectively powering your vehicle during this stop event.
Johnson Controls is the world's largest producer of automotive AGM batteries, which are precision engineered to meet the electrical demands we put on today's vehicles. Learn more at autobatteries.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Waking up can be a chore, but mornings knocking on my front door. Know just what I'll do. Put on a pot of Folgers brew. Mountain grown aroma hits the spot. Helps me give all that I've got. An opportunity to start out smiling and happy. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
I'm privileged to be involved with Capstone Adaptive Learning, formerly known as United Cerebral Palsy, for over 25 years. Since 1953, Capstone has provided quality care programs for persons with developmental disabilities like autism, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, and intellectual disabilities. Dr. Sherry White with her team are dedicated to Capstone's clients, and 100% of your contributions stay local to serve those in this community. Go to capstoneadaptivelearning.org to see the difference Capstone makes.
Technology moves at the speed of innovation, and today, that's lightning fast. So when you get your hands on the latest tech, don't forget to do the right thing with your old devices. Recycle them. The Consumer Technology Association and its members are making recycling your old tech device as easy as purchasing new ones. Just go to greenergadgets.org, type in your zip code, and you'll instantly find the responsible recycling location closest to your home. You'll also find lots of tips to simplify your recycling, like asking the store where you buy your new TV if they'll haul away your old one. Television sets, video game consoles, smartphones, tablets, they're all recyclable. Don't let them clog up your local landfill. Just visit greenergadgets.org. You're sharp enough to get the latest tech tools into your home. Now be responsible enough to get your old devices to the recycler. That's greenergadgets.org.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Gas prices. Here we go again. Well, let's see. Okay. All right. Same time this time last year, the gas prices are higher in every region of the country. Last week, if I compare this week's average gas price, they are higher in all but 3 of the regions. And that price is $2.84.5. California, $3.46. So your gasoline continues to elevate in price. It's going to be curious to me, and we've all heard about Ford Motor Company shifting its direction toward away from cars. And so it's going to be toward SUVs and those sorts of things, and even the smaller SUVs. That's because they're getting better gas mileage. But by and large, every time gas prices are nearing the $4 mark, people quit buying trucks and quit buying, not they don't stop, but that the reduced sale of SUVs and trucks. But it seems like that now, as efficient as newer engines are and will be and continue to be, we're going to see that you can still drive the SUV of your choice because you're still going to get really decent gas mileage, even if it is $3.50 a gallon. But I wonder how it's going to be when it goes beyond the 4, and I wonder what our threshold is, our chokehold with gas prices. I'd say it's $5. That's what I say. But we'll see. Let's go to Greg. Take a call from Greg with the Toyota Tundra. Greg, good morning. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hey, Bobby. Listen, first I wanted to thank my dad had got a 500 SL Mercedes convertible, and it was acting kind of weird, and you were the only place in town last year that could get it fixed. So he said you did a real good job on it.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
The other thing I wanted to say was, let's see, when you were talking about the tire pressure, I had a Nissan Titan. I think it was a 2008.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got it and drove it from, I was stationed in Jacksonville, Florida. I drove it to Pensacola, and it ran out of gas. I didn't even have enough money to get, or enough gas to get home. I just had a Chevy Silverado, and in the Chevy, I could get home from Jacksonville and still have gas to drive around the next day. So I couldn't believe that Nissan was getting that bad of a gas mileage. And then I did, like when you mentioned that, I looked at the tire pressure, and it said 32 on the door. Sure enough, the tires had 32, but the tires themselves said 45. So I went to I put 40 in them. When I drove back to Jacksonville, sure enough, I made it all the way to Jacksonville, and I had gas enough to drive the next day.
Well,
so it made that much of a difference over that 345-mile trip.
And I'm not surprised, but you do realize that when you push the center of the tire out with excessive pressure, then you're riding on less tread. You don't have the contact patch that tire is designed to have, so that's a trade-off.
Yeah.
You understand that, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I understand. I think I might have got 45,000 miles out of them, so it wasn't too bad. But check for the mileage, and for one thing, when you let off the gas, you could feel the truck slowing down, almost like the brake was on.
Right.
Once I aired them up, you could let off the gas, and the truck just would maintain its speed.
Wow, that's cool.
On the premium gas, let's see. There was I saw a show where some honchos from BMW, Mercedes, and Porsche were all at a table, and this international consortium was asking them questions about the cars that go all over the world.
Right.
And one of the questions that came up was, they said, hey, all these continents around the world, Africa, South America, Australia, most of Asia, all these other places, they don't have premium gas. So they said, what do you do to your cars to adjust them? They said nothing. Nothing. So they were like, you mean the car comes here and we're driving they said, so what's the problem? They said, nothing. You're probably going to lose on a 400 horsepower car, about 5 horsepower. That's it. They said the cars will adjust to whatever kind of gas you're feeding them.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the question I wanted you to address, because maybe you could have some insight. And then there was one comment I wanted to have was when you said to get on the highway about once a month, you said you would depress the gas pedal to the floor. I think in your Jaguar or something.
I do.
To clean out the valves. Well, in my Toyota Tundra, I did that right over here coming off Davis Highway, and I hit about 95 miles an hour, and I had to slam on the brakes. So some vehicles that may not be a good idea for.
No.
I don't know how fast your Jaguar is, but my Tundra was really cooking by the time I hit the highway. The other question, we always had this at work, and nobody could answer it. Lingenfelter. Does the L on the Chevrolet engine codes, like the high-performance ones from the 70s and the Corvettes, does that L mean Lingenfelter?
No.
And if you could just
no, it doesn't.
About those
I can
things,
tell you,
we're all ears, man.
I can tell you that the L doesn't mean Lingenfelter. In fact, Ken Lingenfelter bought Lingenfelter from his cousin because Ken. Now, this has nothing to do with the L, but Ken did not found that company. Ken made his money in real estate. And he made a lot of money in real estate. And his, I believe it was his cousin, started the Lingenfelter and was not doing that well because he really needed, I guess he didn't have the capital and needed an infusion in cash. And so rather than refinance what I guess he didn't have enough, I don't know the backstory, but I do know because I've had dinner at SEMA with Ken Lingenfelter, and
wow.
And he's a neat guy. I'll tell a quick story that I think would be interesting. So there was a phone call that came in from Veyron, from Bugatti, that said, and this is from Europe, and it says, we see that Mr. Lingenfelter's Bugatti has the water sensor says there's water in the oil or transmission. I don't know. It could be the water in the oil or transmission, but anyway, they monitor. So then they monitor those cars real time, and so we want to send the tech over and replace the monitor, replace the sensor. And so the general manager, who was, I think his name was Campbell, was with General Motors for years. He works with Lingenfelter now. And he was also at the table. And he was telling me this story. He said, so I took the call because Ken was, on the road. And so Bugatti said, well, we'd like to send when's a good time? He said, well, I don't know. He said, I don't really know where the car is. So the Bugatti people says, oh, we know where the car is. We're not interested in where we just want to know what will be a convenient time for us to send the technician to replace the sensor in the car.
Big Brother.
Exactly right, and that was really interesting because we weren't even talking about Big Brother, but it was so interesting because here this chief engineer from General Motors, and I wish I remembered his name. I think it was Campbell. But the chief engineer from GM was at the table talking about that, and then when he said, well, I don't know where my boss is, he's out driving, and that's when they said, oh, we know where it is, we just know when is a good time. Now, getting back to your the acceleration point, I do accelerate my car on the on-ramp when I see that there's no car in front of me so that I can run it to the max in first gear, and it shifts out. And when it shifts from...
Oh, I'm sorry. I totally missed that part.
Well, yeah, but I want to make
I thought you meant just hold it on the floor until you get on the highway.
No, that is on the on-ramp. That is on the on-ramp to I-110, and when it shifts out, and then I immediately back off the throttle, I'm running no more than 70 miles an hour, and usually it's somewhere between 60, and the speed limit is 65. So I'm not sure it's legal to drag race on the on-ramp, but once I get to the once I get there, it's legal. Okay. Okay. All right. So that's a little story.
I missed that first gear part, but two of my buddies had Celine Mustangs, And they swore up and down you could only run 93 octane. That's why I was asking about the 93.
Okay, let's talk about that.
We never could get a straight answer on that.
Okay, well, here's the straight answer. And this is, and think about it. If super chips, you hear me talking about super chips, and that is a fantastic program or tuner. If super chips can take a 2017 EcoBoost Ford and tune it and get 116 horsepower without opening the hood.
Good gosh.
Think about that. How much horsepower are we leaving under the hood on the table? But let's back up. How do they do that? Well, they modify the mapping of the computer tuning, but you have to put in when you hand program this vehicle, which takes all of 5-6 minutes. I've done it. When you put in the program, it says, what kind of fuel? Have you changed the gear ratio? What kind of tires? Have you changed those? Well, obviously, you're going to put in 93 fuel. So if you promise or if you tune the program on the highest octane, then what the Super Chips tuner does, it will extract the most power from that engine that is possible because it advances the timing, which helps the fuel atomize and will run in a higher gear with more power. So a higher gear is lower RPM, more power allows you to shift it into higher gear sooner, and voila, your gas mileage goes up and your power goes up, and the engine actually runs cleaner. Now, having said that, and I asked specifically because I talked with an engineer from Flashback, which is the parent company of Super Chips. I said, how can you do this? I mean, as I said, I'm a want-to-know kind of guy, facts, right? So Greg, he says, we are not limited by the same mandates and rules that the factory is. So the OEMs make the engines, and they know. And we know that the engine can produce more, but they can't sell it on the showroom floor under those circumstances because... So
they're just being real conservative?
Very conservative. Very conservative. Problems, right? Very conservative. Yeah. And so that's why... Gotcha. So I had to know that because, I said, well, how do you get 100 horsepower out of a stock engine? Because I'm from the school where you have to go inside the engine to get more compression, to get more power. And you know what? Right. That's no longer true. And that's why that being the way the engines are designed today and computers are designed, that's why they limit the top speed of, say, a Mercedes to 155 miles an hour. Not that it won't go faster, but it's limited. And to that end, Ford trucks, I learned this from my listeners, Ford trucks are limited to 100 miles an hour.
Wow.
So how do you limit how does a truck know it's going 100 miles an hour? Because you put it in second gear or third gear instead of overdrive. The engine's turning more RPM, put it in overdrive and trick it. But no, it's a speed sensor, and it's limited to in RPM. Now, you can, by using the tuner, you can modify all those things and extract more from the vehicle that you have without without breaking the bank. But anyway, getting back, and then one more question that you had with regard to octane. Ping sensors, a knock sensor in a vehicle, and they all have knock sensors, recognize the frequency of the knock long before it's audible to a human. And what happens is that onboard computer will retard the timing. And here's an example. The Ford EcoBoost will retard the timing up to or down to 30 degrees after top dead center, which it makes it a dog. And he said, well, how does that happen? Well, let's say you're going 25, 30 miles an hour and the lights change in front of you. It's red, so you're slowing down. You haven't come to a stop. You haven't really slowed. You're still going 15 miles an hour, so the vehicle's probably still in third gear because you have to come to a stop for it to really go into first gear. You with me now? So we're rolling. All of a sudden, the light changes green. the car it takes off in front of you, and you're still going 15 miles an hour, but you slow a little more and you turn the corner and you step on the accelerator, but not aggressively. So the engine is lugging because it's going 15 miles an hour in third gear, and it doesn't like it. And so all of a sudden the cylinder loading, just like riding a bicycle up a hill in 10th speed, that ain't going to happen because your quads say, hey, this is too hard. So the loading, all of a sudden the pressure causes a detonation on top of the piston, and the ping sensor goes off, and the timing says, whoop, save this engine, retard the timing. And therein lies why you can run low-octane fuel in a high-octane engine without any problem, and you will lose performance, but you will not damage the engine. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Very interesting. Isn't that all very interesting? It is to me.
Well, the only reason I was asking was if you read on I don't know if they still have it, but it used to be when you got in a Porsche Corvette or one of the AMG Mercedes or a BMW M5.
Right.
The thing on the gas said premium, or if you were in the state, like 93 octane gas, a lot of people don't know, is only available from Texas to the East Coast. Once you go to Texas, you only got 91 all the way to California.
Okay.
From what I've seen. And it sounds like it don't give you no option. You have to run it, or you think and everybody thinks their car will just die or won't run at all. And I'm
well,
like,
my car says premium
I don't
fuel.
think that's the case.
No, it is not the case. My car says premium fuel on the flap. The Mini Cooper Supercharged that we had said premium fuel. And Greg,
Right.
one last point. We're out of time, but one last point. We're talking about tire pressure. The maximum pressure front and rear for high-speed driving on the Mini Cooper was 33 psi. I'll tell you, you run 33 psi, you will wear the rear tires out in the middle, and you'll wear the front tires out if you're driving in the city. So here's what we had to run. And I did this as a matter of study. 36 in the front and 29 in the rear, and I increased my life of my tires 20%. I got 24,000 miles out of a Mini Cooper, and everybody else, including the president of Cooper Tires, not the Cooper car, but because I talked with him at SEMA, he said I've got a Cooper that I drive on the LA freeway. He said I get 20,000 miles. That's all you're going to get, whether it's my tire or a Michelin or whatever. And the bottom line, I increased mine 20% by measuring tread and proper depth according to the driving of the tire. And with that, I'm Bobby Likis. Thanks for tuning in this hour. Likis, you'll love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
When your battery goes dead, everything can come to a stop. Don't take a chance on getting stranded. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get your battery tested free of charge. If your battery does need to be replaced, O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you find the exact Superstart battery that fits your car or truck at a guaranteed low price. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
If you're familiar with the Kulseford section of the newspaper, you probably understand this message quite well. You see, in the Kulseford section, everything gets abbreviated. Consonants, vowels, prepositional phrases, the very building blocks of our language are thrown right out the window. And that makes it difficult when you're trying to sell your car. You've got a limited amount of space to work with, and by the time you abbreviate the description of your car down to a couple of fragmented sentences, it sounds less like a car and more like a Bluck sedan with sniffed like new condition lemals. No wonder more people are selling their cars through eBay Motors. They can post unlimited text and photo descriptions, and with a nationwide marketplace, they're likely to sell it for more. Plus, booth parties can be covered by eBay's Vehicle Protection Program. Buyers are happy, sellers are happy, and no one's abbreviating. eBay Motors, a better way to sell your car.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 3-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Count down to 1 minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic, live via ABC Radio Satellite Services. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll-free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And here we go again. Let's get another hour going of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Hannah will take your calls at our 888 number. Actually, it's easier to remember. 888-227-2546. That's 888 Car Clinic. Every Saturday from 10 till noon, I'm consider me your personal consultant, your personal automotive car consultant, that is. I'm here to help you make educated decisions about repair, and given the hot summertime, it's time for you to be proactive about your automobile. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by K-Seal, the one-step permanent multi-purpose system for coolant leak repair, including head gaskets, engine blocks, water pumps, and radiators. You can learn more at kseal.com. Also, proud to be sponsored and partnered with the Car Care Council. Bobby Likis this morning is brought to you in part by the Car Care Council. It's back to school time, as you know, the perfect opportunity for drivers to make sure vehicles are kid safe and road ready. Visit carcare.org for a number of fantastic tools, including tips, service schedules, videos, and more. And you can actually put your VIN number into that login position there at the carcare.org, and you'll get scheduled reminders for maintenance pending and needed to make sure your car is roadworthy and safe. That's carcare.org and 888 Car Clinic when I come back. Don't touch that dial. Your vehicle a little sluggish? Try Berryman's B12 Chem Tool. Using HEST or high-energy solvent technology, Berryman B12 Chem Tool dissolves gum, varnish, and carbon deposits in the fuel system to help restore lost power and peak performance. But don't take our word for it. According to Kevin M., Berryman products have proven to be a class act in maximizing performance, starting and saving on gas mileage. I've noticed a cruising speed, acceleration, and overall car performance. Learn more about Berryman products and their HEST technology at berrymanproducts.com.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Car repairs get expensive, and most of us don't have spare money for them. When a heater core starts to fail, it can be costly depending on location. Maybe $1,000 even. When a heater core leaks, it usually comes on gradually with a smell of coolant and a film on the glass that keeps returning. Common leaks are the glued seals on the plastic tanks. This represents a perfect opportunity to use K-Seal, as it can be poured into the cooling system and driven right away. And K-Seal remains in the system, so it can prevent future leaks as well. We recently used K-Seal on a Honda to stop a heater core leak. We never experienced the smell of coolant, but we had to regularly clean the inside windshield glass to remove that film.
It doesn't take more than a few drops from a leaking heater core to cause an unsafe film on the glass. After using K-Seal, it stopped. Find K-Seal at automotive retailers everywhere and get more information at kseal.com. That's kseal.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Another lending success story from LendingTree.com.
Car dealers like playing games. They play percentage points, they play markups, but I don't like playing with my money. So I got my auto loan through LendingTree.com. I filled out one simple form, a marketplace of banks and lenders competed over it, and I got 4 offers back within hours. After all, the car buying game is a lot easier to win when you're holding all the cards.
LendingTree.com. When banks compete, you win. For additional information and state license disclosures, please visit our website located at LendingTree.com.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, here we go, and here's the drill. Gosh, I apologize to those of you who are tuned in on Watch Bobby Live. I totally forgot about that. But every Saturday, if you can't get us on a local AM and or FM radio station, you can go from anywhere. If you're out of town, you can go on your iPhone or your computer or even in your car, depending on the car, and go to Watch Bobby Live. That's easy, watchbobbylive.com. And I'm here in HD real-time video. So a special hello to all the folks who are in the chat room. Jonathan will converse with you there. And if you have a question in the chat room, he'll actually print that question and bring it into the studio, and I'll do my best to answer it for you. We're going to go to Joseph, who has a lot of patience. And Joseph, thank you so much for holding. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Finally, you're on the air, and the mic's to you.
Okay, Bobby. I have a Lincoln Town car. When I started in the morning, my battery light goes on, but if I drive it a half a block, it goes off, and it stays off the rest of the day. But it just happens when I first started in the morning. As I read, it's telling me alternator probably, but I wanted to check with you and see what you think. And that's why I called.
That's great. That's a great question. Here's what you want to do. And this happens every morning, Joseph?
No, it doesn't. I mean, it might happen this morning.
I knew that.
It might happen next week. It might happen every morning for 3 or 4 days.
3 or 4 days.
It's weird. And then it goes off. Half a block down the road, it's gone. And it's gone for the rest of the day. I could stop the car and start the car all day, and I don't see it anymore.
I have a sneaky suspicion. I mean, I'm sort of 50% here, so I could be 50% right. The first thing that I would do, wait, that's a Ford. No, scratch that. Okay, the first thing that you should have performed is this. You have the battery cables removed and cleaned.
I did it. And I put white lithium grease on them and put them all back.
Okay, but I'm not through. Including...
Okay. Oh, I forgot to tell you something.
What?
I went to a discount auto parts, and they put the machine on it, and they said the battery and the alternator and the starter is good.
Right.
But this was after the problem.
That's okay. I want you to follow the negative cable down to the engine block.
That's the black one, right?
Yes, sir. It's the black one. It should be bolted on the front of the block as you were facing the car on the passenger side. I want you to, regardless of what you see or how it looks, I want you to remove that negative cable. I want you to take a wire, like a toothbrush or what have you. If you don't have that, maybe some sandpaper around the house, whatever you have that's abrasive, okay?
Okay.
And I want you to sand the block surface where that cable mates up to. I want you to sand the cable terminal on both the bolt side and the block side,
the complete eyelet.
Okay.
And then I want you to put a little of your magic lithium grease, which is good stuff, by the way. Congratulations, on that bolt surface and the block surface, the terminal. Just dip the terminal in it. That's all right. And then I want you to retorque that bolt and do nothing else, and call me. Let me know if it fixes it. There have been issues. Has been issues with that particular case on a Ford, and all cars, but specifically on a Ford, and we've seen that, and we used. It took us a while to check for voltage drop, and the voltage drop is a test that most people don't really think of doing. And a voltage drop is where you test battery voltage at the battery, and you say, that's 12.2 volts here statically. But if you go to the starter cable, there might be 8.4 volts there. Well, wait a minute, I've got a voltage drop here. So you don't have to do all that. Just clean that battery cable, because that's the number one hotspot that came into my mind. And then you reach back to me and let me know how that works, okay?
Is it under the car? Do I have to get under the car?
No,
or
sir.
Is it up top?
It's up top. It's up top. You'll see that cable, and I could be wrong depending on the year. It doesn't say what year yours. Yeah, but
98.
Okay, just follow the yellow black road. Follow that black cable down to the block. Take it from the block, loose it from the block, clean it, lube it, put it back on. See what happens.
Okay, thank you, Bobby.
You're welcome. Thanks for holding, and thanks for your call. 888-227, thank you. 888-227-2546. I talked about Ford Smart Window, but let's go to Missouri and take a call, and then I'll tell you about a window that's redesigned so that if you're blind, you're riding in the back seat, you can see the mountains around you. It's unbelievable, folks. I get chills thinking about it. Marty, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for holding.
Thanks, Bobby. I was calling trying to change the oil in my transmission.
Okay.
And I'm wanting to know if there's a correct way to do it, and should I flush the transmission?
Yes, you should flush it, and no, you should not take the pan off. How many miles on your 11 F-150?
118.
Okay. Here's a caveat, and it should not be in this condition, but if it is, then I'll get into that. If not, I won't. And what I mean by that, if the fluid is thick and gooey and dark brown to the point that it really seriously has been overcooked, and it's so much so that you can actually see on the stick a little buildup, then, if it has a stick, then you'll need to, in addition to flushing the transmission, you'll need to change the filter. But if the fluid is just normally darkened, and it will be 50,000 miles, we exchange fluids on Toyotas, and Toyota says, oh, don't do that until 60,000. Ford says our fluid's good for 150,000 miles. Well, neither one of those companies guarantee the transmission past 50,000 miles. So, really? I mean, if they tell you to run the fluid 100,000 miles and they only guaranteed 50,000, they may as well tell you it's good for 300,000 miles, if you get my drift. So, right. and I'm not being facetious, but that's just the way it is. In the real world, which means how do you stop breakdowns, you be proactive, or in our case, prevention. We created pre-repair, which is the prevention of repair. And I won't get into that, but it does work. And to that end, if the transmission fluid is acceptably bad, which means that it's not lumpy and muddy and what have you, then you take it to a shop that uses a machine, and that machine automatically extracts, using the cooler lines, about 97% of all the fluid, while simultaneously replacing it with new fluid. And actually, in a machine like we use, we'll use 16 quarts in a 12.5 system because we're actually flushing the old out, and we don't want any of the old to mix with the new. But as you know, if you got the same pipe, you're going to always have some of the new, and then there's also fluid in the valve body, so you need to run it through the gears as it's being flushed as well. So that's what I do on my car and my customers' cars, and that's what I would do with your F-150.
Okay. So if I take it to a shop and tell them I want it flushed, they'll change the fluid out.
Yes, and I would ask what kind of procedure they use and what their advice, and you'll know if you're talking with someone who's got the savvy or not. And if you have if there's a challenge, you can always reach back to me, and I'll even talk to the service shop for you. I mean, you know, I'm here. I'm here all the time, and you can call the service shop number. I get calls all the time. You know, I'm not asking for these calls, but I'm saying if you get into a situation to where this doesn't sound right, or you know, because you've got a vehicle that's healthy, you want to keep it healthy, and I applaud you for changing the fluid. I've already changed mine. I'm really big on replacing the lifebloods of the vehicle. In fact, just this week, when I had to prematurely, really premature for motor mounts to go bad, I take a little blame for that because I'm aggressive, but I didn't. You know, it's hard to break a motor mount, but the driver's side motor mount's bad on my car, and so we replaced the mount. In order to do so, we had to drop the power steering rack. It was about an 8-hour job. And in doing so, we did flush, and I had already done that at 34,000, but at 55,000, we did change the fluid. In fact, the reservoir had this ring around the collar about halfway down that was ugly looking. So Johnny, our master ASE certified technician, removed the reservoir and washed it in our vat. And now when I did this just last night, I pulled the cap off in my garage at home and looked down. You can see clear with a flashlight all the way to the bottom of the reservoir. It's a great feeling. Hey, Marty, thanks for your call from Missouri. We'll come back and take calls from Texas and your call at 888-CAR Clinic. Don't go away. I'll be back. This Engine Care Spotlight is brought to you by Walker Products, a leading manufacturer of quality fuel system components and engine management sensors. Many of today's diesel-powered vehicles are equipped with computer-controlled diesel emission systems that reduce soot and tailpipe emissions. These computers require accurate information from engine sensors. The exhaust gas temperature sensor, or EGT, relays the temperature of the diesel exhaust gases to the computer to properly control the exhaust gas after treatment system. This not only helps reduce harmful emissions, but also protects your vehicle. A faulty EGT sensor can have serious consequences. In addition to a dash warning light, you may experience a clogged diesel particulate filter, DPF, improper regeneration of the DPF, and overfueling, which can lead to failure of exhaust components or even internal engine damage. Walker Products offers OE quality sensors at aftermarket prices, and any skilled do-it-yourselfer can do the job. Learn more at walkerproducts.com. Talking tunes! No, not the ones on your radio, the ones that allow you to reprogram your vehicle's factory computer without even popping the hood. The result is more power, more torque, and a better overall driving experience. We recently sat down with Jim McGinn, Vice President of Marketing for Power Tech. Jim touched on another benefit associated with automotive tuning and efficiency. Let's hear how tuning your vehicle can lead to increased fuel economy.
Superchips tuning essentially increases your vehicle's timing. It allows the truck or the car, the SUV or Jeep to run in a higher gear, and it improves the process which we call atomization, which is essentially it turns bulk liquid into spray, and when you achieve this, you increase fuel pressure and you increase your fuel economy. So as a result, you can run the vehicle in a higher gear with advanced timing, and you get a more complete burn. We've done extensive road and dyno testing to validate these claims, and it really impacts the bottom line for the consumer with the Superchips Flash Pack.
Find your perfect tune at superchips.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Telephone tip.
From Geico Auto Insurance.
When calling Geico to switch your car insurance, you will not need acetaminophen, naproxen, indomethacin, ibuprofen, a cold compress, an on-call acupuncturist, or any other pain remedy. In 15 minutes, you could save 15% or more. If it were any more painless, you could do it in your sleep, which is theoretically possible since we offer complete 24-hour service. Call 1-800-947-AUTO, 1-800-947-AUTO. Geico Direct, the sensible alternative.
When you purchase the latest TV, tablet, or smartphone, don't forget to do the right thing with your old ones. Recycle them. The Consumer Technology Association and its members are making recycling your old devices as easy as buying new ones. Just go to greenergadgets.org, type in your zip code, and you'll instantly find the recycling location closest to your home. You'll also find recycling tips, like asking the store where you buy your new TV if they'll haul away your old one. Don't let your old tech tools clog your local landfill. Just visit greenergadgets.org.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. I want to again welcome a new Car Clinic affiliate, KNEB, 960 AM and 100.3 FM, your trusted voice in Scottsbluff, Nebraska, Cheyenne, Wyoming, and a special shout out to Bill Boyer, Director of Operations. And later today, those of you who live in Scottsbluff and Cheyenne will hear this program for the first time. So please remember, next Saturday, 888 Car Clinic during our live broadcast, which runs from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Although we're broadcast there and you're hearing this program at a later time in the afternoon, but we'll talk cars if you'd like to call live. Again, a special welcome to everyone hearing this program, Bobby Likis Car Clinic, KNEB, 960 AM and 100.3 FM, your trusted voice. Be sure to tune in the morning show this coming Tuesday at 8:45 as I'll be joining Dennis Ernst live right there in Scottsbluff. Going to be a lot of fun. Don't miss it. You can call in and ask questions depending on how much time that we spend there with Dennis Ernst. That's 8:45 this Tuesday. Yours truly is coming to, well, via air, coming to Scottsbluff. Bobby Likis Car Clinic. I guarantee you like us, you'll love us. We're going to go now to Gregory, and then I'm going to share with you some of the insight on how I test products that I recommend on this program. This is very interesting, and it's information that I use, and you can too. But first, Gregory, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Good, good. I have a question on my. I got an 08 Mercury Mountaineer.
Okay.
And my wife, when I stop, it's like a jerking. It like jerks. And like even in the morning time, when I drive it, once it warms up, that it won't be as bad, but it eventually go away, but it'll come back from time to time. But there's no check engine lights or anything coming on, nothing like that.
Okay. So Gregory, excuse me, but when you say it jerks, does it jerk as you are slowing down to a stop, or does it jerk when you're accelerating?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
As I'm slowing down
to a stop, and in other words, obviously you got the brakes on, so I'm not going to ask you. That sounds like a dumb question, but I'm trying to discern if it's coming, it being this jerking from the braking system, or if it's coming from a transmission that's downshifting roughly. Give me some.
It's coming from the transmission downshifting.
Yeah,
it's not seeming to that, and I think they're not in sync.
Yeah,
it's like when the truck wants to stop.
Right.
Something that's not in line with it. I don't know what that could be. What's the name? I'm thinking about another. Go ahead.
Well, so specifically, if you're going like 40 miles an hour and the light's red, you come into a stop and you step on the brakes, you're not getting this progressive.
No.
Like a rotor that's warped. No, not that at all.
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. All right. Good. I didn't think so. I don't know why I thought that, but I guess having answered more than 100,000 questions, I have a good feel. Okay. So here's a test. you can place the gear selector in neutral.
In neutral?
Yeah.
I did that.
And does that cure the problem?
No.
Really? Wait. Specifically, you're going 40 miles an hour. You're slowing down. It's doing whatever it does, and you push the gear selector in neutral, which means the engine goes to idle and the transmission disconnects from the car. And now you're telling me you still got the same vibration or the same shape?
No, it's not a vibration. You know what? It didn't. Come to think about it, it didn't do that when I did it in neutral.
Okay.
It was just idle.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
just kind
I thought so. All right. Here's what you have to do, and I'm going to make it really easy for you. No guesswork. No trial and error. No spending of any money. So what you do is you take it to a local service shop, or the dealer, You ask the technician to go for a ride with you. Do not give them the key and say, here's what my car's doing, go drive it, because they don't drive the way you do. You take the technician for a ride. What I would recommend, you call a service shop and arrange ahead and said, what's a good time for you? In other words, don't go at 7:30 a.m. on Monday morning because we got a boatload of cars. Go about 10 o'clock because that's when the people can take a breath at the service desk because they've already gotten that first load of cars in, and they've dispatched those cars to the technicians, so it's a coffee break time about 10 o'clock, and not just generally speaking. So you call, Tom, Dick, or the Bobby in your area, and you say, I'd like to come by about 10 or 10:30, if that's good for you, and have a technician ride with me to help me to understand what's wrong. And by doing so, by you showing the technician what your car is doing, and the technician says, oh, I see, then I want you, Gregory, and here's your second step, find a safe place, pull over, let the technician drive your car, you ride, let the technician duplicate the same issue. Now, voila, you're both on the same page. The technician knows what you're talking about, so that when you spend the money to repair that problem, the technician can go out and test that same problem and know almost 100% assuredly that it's been repaired.
What's going on?
Yeah, that makes sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what I recommend that you do, and I don't mean for you to ask your next door neighbor the same question. You got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Now, what do you think that might be coming from?
Oh, that's what my explanation was all about. Because anything that I could come up with might or might not be what's right, because what you're asking me, there leaves something to be, there's too much gray area here. So I'm not going to plant anything, you see, I'm not going to plant anything in your mind, because I don't want you to go in and share that with a technician. I want you to go in and say, my car's doing the skate here. I want you to my car's doing a skate here. I want you to drive it. Okay, let me know what happens, Gregory. And sure, thank you for your call. We'll take another call from Texas. Huey, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Good morning, Bobby.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Beautiful sunshine here in the state of Texas. Doing pretty good.
Texas, that's a pretty big state, isn't it?
They say it is.
They say it is. So I took a call from, I don't know where you're from, maybe Tyler.
Yeah, Rose Capital.
Yeah, I took a call from someone recently in the Northeast, I think it was, or Northwest, and I talked about, I've been to Texas. I went to Midland, and I got off the plane, and before I got off the steps of the plane, I could see for miles and miles, and you know how flat it was. He said, well, you just need to come and visit me, because we have rolling hills and mountains, and Texas is not as flat as what you think it is. So it was.
You're right, and you get a chance to go into the Davis Mountains out there, you'll run into two different worlds.
Yes, that's what. And he told me, and you know, quite candidly, I really didn't know, because you can only know what you know, really what you, and remember what you saw with your eyes. But I will tell you, Midland is a flat area.
Well, I've been in the oil and gas industry for years. That was my major, and I worked up in Borga, Texas. That's in the northern part of Panhandle, right close to Oklahoma. And I tell you, that's one of the coldest places I've been in. So
oh, wow. Well, let's talk about
back to East Texas.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about your 07 cargo van. Fill us in. What's going on with that?
Yes, sir. I'm giving you a little update. I talked to you about 3 weeks ago on it, and it was throwing up several codes. And the main problem was the PO61B, which had to do with the internal control module torque calculation and performance and all of that. So actually, we threw a throttle body at it with the sensors on it, and kept doing the same thing and started doing the pinout on the ECM and the connectors to the throttle body, and sure enough, it was all in the wiring.
Wow.
And
welcome to my world.
Yep. So I was just wanting to give you an update on that. And the customer was my neighbor's van, and he's a happy camper.
I really appreciate that, and it's just, that's where that, and folks here understand this. Here's and just so happens, Huey, that one of my clients, long time, lost her father in Sebring, Florida, and she left the Gulf Coast, which is Pensacola, where we are, and drove down to there. But she got as far as Lake City, and her Tahoe Suburban went into limp home mode, and she had to leave her car and rent a car because of the schedule with her father's passing. So she left her car in Lake City. I called, her husband, who was a doctor, called me after the program one Saturday, and I got on the phone and I connected the dealer there in Lake City and said, this car's at a hotel, it's so many miles and she's away. I'd like for you to take personal care of her and what have you. They didn't have a throttle body, but a throttle body fixed that vehicle. And so when you and I talked several weeks ago, that was a common issue, but never automatically replace a part, especially with today's cars, because of this very same illustration. So I wanted, and here we have two cars. Hers was an 07 Suburban, or 06, but 601, and yours is a 07 cargo van, and with the same, or your friends, with the same identical issue, with the same identical nomenclature, throttle body, but hers had a bad throttle body, yours had a bad wire or connectors going to the throttle body, which would indicate bad throttle body. So that's
and I open up that connector that goes to the TPS, and there's a little spring in there. And of all my years of doing little stuff like that, I've never seen it. And another thing is, I don't know why Ford make those wires so small and gauge, and they're tight. And with a cargo van, there's no air or anything up under that van.
Exactly. Yeah, it's
anyway, that just really made my day when I found that. And I told him, I said, I'm not throwing any more parts at this. There's something going on. Because I rode with my scanner, and I could see things changing and acting crazy. I said, this got to be a wiring issue.
Wow. Hey, Huey, got to break. I sure appreciate your follow-up and follow-through, and glad that we came to fruition there and got a repair. And, folks, I'm going to come back and take your calls after the break. Don't go away.
Your car and your life have a lot of moving parts, and your car's battery is what keeps it all going. Here's something to keep in mind. While all batteries may look the same on the outside, it's what's inside that matters. So be sure to choose a battery with power frame technology inside. It's stronger, more durable, and keeps you going longer. That means you can count on a battery with power frame to be there start after start. Here's another reason to feel good about choosing a battery with power frame inside. It's manufactured using the latest sustainable processes. You're moving fast, and you don't want anything to slow you down, especially an unreliable battery. So the next time you need to replace your car's battery, make sure you choose one with power frame technology inside. Look for power frame on the outside, and know there's true strength on the inside.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
More than 1 million wild animals are killed each year illegally. Poaching is a major threat to our country's wildlife. I'm Tom Barry. I'm an actor with a desire to preserve living space for wildlife. The Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust does just that. Works with private landowners to protect wildlife, to preserve natural habitats. To learn more or to work with the Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust, call 800-729-SAVE. That's 800-729-SAVE, or visit wildlifelandtrust.org. Thank you.
Did you know 26 million Americans have kidney disease and most don't know it?
The day I was diagnosed, I didn't know what to do. I called the National Kidney Foundation, and the young lady who answered stayed on the phone with me and walked me through step by step. She too was surviving kidney disease. And she showed me there could be life after kidney disease.
Visit the National Kidney Foundation at kidney.org. Now you know.
We're a land of cynics. We don't believe anything anymore. You know why? Because we've been told we've won $1 million, that it's new and improved, that it slices and dices, that our favorite singer is still alive, that we'll be prosecuted if we cut off the tags, and of course that everything is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So when we hear the words customer service, we don't believe it. Travelocity isn't surprised if you're a little skeptical when they say they have excellent customer service, and that there's actually a pleasant face behind this website, a living, breathing person with a supercharged computer full of answers. Someone who's willing to help when you get lost, and most of all, someone that will actually pick up the phone when you call with a question or a concern. Customer service is just another example of how Travelocity puts you in control of travel. Chances are you'll never have to use it, but it's good to know it'll be there if you need it. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic, brought to you in part by Optimal Batteries. Folks, Optimal Batteries are up to 15 times more vibration resistant than traditional flooded batteries. Optimal Batteries, the ultimate power source? Absolutely. You can learn more at optimalbatteries.com. Now let's go to Texas, take a call from Lawrence, and Hannah will take your calls at 888-227-2546. Lawrence, thanks for holding. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
All right, thank you both for taking my call. I called you a couple of weeks ago about my Nissan Versa. I had
gas mileage?
With my heater. When I turned my heater on, my window would fog up.
Oh,
so I took it to the Nissan place here in Longview.
Right.
And they couldn't find anything wrong.
Okay.
And so I was wondering if it could be maybe something not opened up or something like that. He said, but people complain about their those little cars with the smelling the antifreeze. But they told me I could bring it back. So if I had the problem, and I called Detroit. And they said that they didn't have any recalls on anything about the car, so I was just trying to see maybe if you knew anything else it might could be causing that problem.
Let me refresh my memory. You have a windshield mist on the inside of the vehicle?
Yeah, what happens when it's real cold and I turn my heater on, my window fogs up. I have to keep it on defrost.
Okay.
And that's what I was telling them, that it shouldn't be, that I shouldn't have to keep my heater on defrost, that I need to use my heater. It should still keep the car warm without the window fogging up.
Okay, now what?
So they say they took it out and they couldn't find anything wrong.
Okay, you said when it was real cold.
Yeah,
okay.
Now if it's kind of cold, but it's not real cold,
right,
I can turn the heater on and it won't fog up.
Okay, so Lawrence, let me explain what I think as you were explaining. It could be the issue with this vehicle.
Okay.
In all circumstances, when you turn a defroster on, now let me ask a question. When you turn a defroster on, does it clear up and go away?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When you turn a heater on, of course, the air conditioning system does not come on, for obvious reasons, because you're not wanting to get cold, you're wanting to get warm.
Yeah.
Having said that, having said that, the air conditioner would not be on in the heater, but you just answered my question. I'm getting ahead of myself. So here's the bottom line. When you turn the defroster on, even in the dead of winter, the air conditioner comes on because the air conditioner dehumidifies the inside of the car. That's what it does. It takes the heat away, but it also takes the moisture away. That's what air conditioning systems do. That's why 80 degrees in Florida with 90% humidity feels a lot hotter than 80 degrees than 105 degrees in Nevada with 38% humidity. Having said that, you just said that when you put the defroster on, it cleared the windshield up. So when you clear the windshield up, you could turn the heater back on. That it should stay cleared because that initial moisture could be in the evaporator core itself or in the car itself. But when you turn the heater on, that air, now even that notwithstanding, and here's where I was going. I'd really have to have your car and experience exactly what your wind is. If it's really cold outside and you turn the defroster on, let's say it's 30 degrees, okay? Well, friends in New York, that's not cold, but let's just say it's 15 degrees and you turn the defroster on. For the most part, there's a thermistor, there's a sensor that says, wait a minute, it's too cold for the air conditioning system to add insult to injury. We're not going to make the air conditioning system. We're not going to allow the compressor to come on, and so it will block the compressor from coming on. Cars have had these systems for years. In fact, Ford Motor Company, and I know because I work with them, Ford Motor Company had problems with these sensors that were programmed or manufactured so that any time the car was in 35-degree Fahrenheit or low or below cold weather, the air conditioner compressor would not come on. So sometimes in the dead of summer, that sensor would go bad and it would interrupt the air conditioner power. I mean, the power to the compressor. So with you and your automobile, if you're having an excessive amount of vapors, there are two things that can cause that. Well, there's moisture that can cause that. So maybe the car's got a water leak somewhere. I mean, did you ask him if they had any other complaints from any other Versa owners?
No, they told me they had, others did have that complaint.
They do have that complaint?
Yeah, they had that complaint of smelling the antifreeze and couldn't find out, where it was coming from. It wasn't leaking or anything.
Well, you smell antifreeze? Do you smell antifreeze too?
Sometimes I do, but when I get outside the car. It's not inside the car, it's just when I get outside the car.
Oh, that shouldn't happen. If you have a leak, you have a leak, and I know this because I have specifically had with my car water pump problems. In fact, I even this week wrote a commercial spot about the water pump because the water pump that came on my car from the factory was replaced at 6,400 miles because it was supposedly updated because of a manufacturing design change. Well, lo and behold, 43,000 miles later at 49,000 and some change, the water pump started making noise. So I replaced the water pump with a factory water pump. 2 months later or 2 weeks later, I smelled coolant. Well, sure enough, it didn't drain on my garage floor, but you could smell it when you got out of the car. So in the last 3 weeks, I've replaced it with a third design water pump. And finally, the whole wide world of the whole World Wide Web caught up, and you can Google this same vehicle, and you can see the difference in the water pump. And now that I've got the old pump and the new one, I see the difference. The bottom line, my car is a 13 model. The pump was made in 2010, the design, and they only changed it in 2017, late 17 or early 18. So it had a 7-year run. They must have made 1 million of those things, and they never came out with a replacement pump redesigned until they sold all the old ones, and I happened to get one of the old ones. And so
so that's the end of my story. But the bottom line is, you probably have a similar situation, and time will tell. Unfortunately, you're kind of stuck in the middle. I don't know how to tell you to fix it, because it's not something that you should have to fix. But I would camp on the dealer's doorstep until they made that smell go away. And if I had to leave my car there for 2 or 3 days, maybe they'll loan you a car. I would think they might. I won't speak for them, but I definitely would if you smell coolant, you've got a leak somewhere, because there's nothing like it, that vapor that comes out. And then last but not least, Lawrence, if you'll take a flashlight, is this car garaged?
No.
Okay, then at nighttime, if you put it in your carport at nighttime with no lights on, and take a small flashlight and look at every cooling system area that you can see, and look at the block, you will see evidence. And don't look for the coolant, look for a ring around the collar. Look for where something has, just like if you sprayed Windex on a glass, but don't wipe it off, and you come back in 5 minutes, you're going to see a big blotch there, right? That's ring around the collar. Right. So don't look for coolant on the driveway, because I didn't have any, but you look for that coagulated, in my case, it was a red coagulated blotch on the center plate of my water pump. And I could see it, and once I found it, I lived with it until I could get another pump that I knew was upgraded, and so so that's what I would do. Okay. Okay. All right, my friend. Good luck.
All right. Thank you so.
You're welcome so much. And folks, it's ironic that I would have this problem with my car. And of course, I didn't cause that. It's not because I'm anal about it. It's because it had a leak. But I just will tell you that once you become really like the gentleman that called about the ProVent system on his Audi from Oregon, once you know the car that you drive, and here's the point, and this is why this is important. You know more about the car that you drive, not technically, about its nature, its characteristics, than any technician. Why? Because you've been with that car 20, 30, 40, 50, 100,000 miles. You know when it doesn't start right. You know when the starter sounds a little funky. You know when the brakes vibrate or shake or rattle. I mean, you know because you've been driving the car. Now, the question is, how long do you put up with a problem? And therein lies the difference between a good car taker and a not so good car owner. When you know there's a problem, if there's a one rattle, take it in and get it fixed. If you wait till you have 10 rattles, you take it in, the technician's going to say, well, which one do you want to fix? I don't know, I want to stop the rattle. Well, you should have stopped the one when it happened. Same thing for coolant leaks, oil leaks, and those sorts of things. Get your car checked out. And this should be, we perform a digital inspection on every vehicle that comes into our service shop. I want to share one last thing with you, and then I'm going to go to New York and take a call from Stephanie. I received from another state an email this week from Harry Heislop. And Harry, I've never met him, but we've been friends for 20 years. Since I've been on the radio, he's been sending me information. Well, this week, he sent me an information on the latest article on 95 octane gasoline. Of course, the first thing on my mind was thinking about horsepower. And the article that he sent had to do with the OEMs could design engines with more power if there weren't multiple different grades of fuel, and they were all 95 octane. And this is true. This is absolutely true. And to that end, Super Chips designs a tuner, and I told him about this, and he was blown away, 116 horsepower on a Ford EcoBoost without opening the hood. Unbelievable. Shows you how much, even if you don't drive the EcoBoost, if you drive a GM, a Ford, a Jeep, or a Chrysler, there's untapped torque, horsepower, and mileage, MPG, that you can use the Super Chips tuner to extract from your engine, and you can do it by plugging it into the port. It's really neat. You go to superchips.com and check it out. And if you see that article about the 95 octane gasoline and about the OEMs considering having and would love to have 1 octane, they would. Why? Because they wouldn't have to build so many different engines for so many different brands of gasoline, because we as consumers are going to tend to buy the least expensive gasoline, and that's not always the best. Let's go to New York. Stephanie, thank you for holding. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hi, Bobby.
Hi.
Okay, really quick. I have a 2016 Dodge Caravan. We bought hoping it would be our retirement car.
Okay.
We bought it at 22,000 miles from a dealer, and we have an electrical issue. We'll be driving, could be slow. It doesn't even have to be driving. It's done it in park. Slow, fast, rainy, dry, snowy, whatever. And all of a sudden, the windshield wipers will come on and go on twice. There's a little like lightning sign on that little readout.
Right.
Everything goes to 0.
Mm-hmm.
When we first started talking to them about it, they're like, well, we have no idea what that is. So we got it on our GoPro, stuck it on, we got our GoPro, stuck it on,
cool.
and showed them.
That's great.
Well, because we're desperate for this car to last us for a while.
Okay, here's what I think, Stephanie. I believe, in the interest of time, I believe that you have a poor ground that it can be very difficult to locate, and that ground is affecting the BCM, which is the body control module, because the BCM controls the functions that you captured on your GoPro. Funny you should think about that, because I was thinking about putting a GoPro on my own car because I have a suspension problem, but I won't go there right now. I don't have the time, but so that I could watch what it does, because I know I can feel it driving the car. So you know this because you experienced driving a vehicle. Of course, by the time you get to the shop, it's all fixed, or at least it goes away. I really seriously believe that there's going to be a ground issue, or a body control module issue, or a combination of both. And what I would do is I would, gosh, is this under warranty or not?
Well, that's just it. It was under warranty, but we're at that point where we've had it in 3 times, and they're just like, we can't figure out what it is. We drive it, but we can't figure out what it is. But I'm not sure what to do. They're like, okay, you've only got a few more miles until right now it's actually in the shop again.
Okay. Well, stay. I'm out of time here, Stephanie. But call me earlier next week. But I stay with the dealer. You know it's happening, and there's no way that you should get an extension of the warranty relative to that particular. Now they don't have the authority to do that, but the service manager can look you in the eye and he says, "I know you have this problem. I see that you have this problem. We're going to take care of you, even if it's out of warranty, up to another, say, year." Try to get a year bumper on this. Tell them Bobby Likis said so. For what good that does. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'd love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
Berryman's B12 Chem Tool features HEST, or High Energy Solvent Technology. Helps maximize one-tank cleanup of intake valves, fuel injectors, and combustion chambers. But don't take our word for it. Gary's Mercury Sable was just running awful and throwing trouble codes. A local technician said it might cost as much as $600. So first, Gary tried Berryman B12 Chem Tool Fuel Additive, and now it runs like new with no trouble codes. Learn more about Berryman products and their HEST technology at berrymanproducts.com.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
If you're
Gracie Outfitters. I'm Tina. How can I help you?
I'd like to place an order.
Great. Which item?
The cotton roll neck sweater, large.
Okay. Periwinkle, Loden, or caramel?
The caramel, please.
The what?
I'd like it in caramel.
Oh, the caramel?
Yeah, that's what I said, Tina.
Actually, you said caramel when it's pronounced caramel.
Can't we just call it yellow?
No.
Everyone knows the best part of a Milky Way. They just don't know how to say it. After all, it's our caramel.
It's caramel.
Ugh, that makes a Milky Way great.
You start my morning, you stir in my soul, you warm my heart, make me feel whole. Your aroma calls me, starts my morning, happy morning. Your name is Fortress Mountain Grown, now you're here. Your aroma helps me wake and the day is mine to take.